welcome to the Crafty Diamond. My name is Debbie, and if you are new, welcome. If you are not new, welcome back. I have my gorgeous coral mermaid in front of me, and this is from Bella Art Diamonds. I've only done a very small section, but what I have done is gorgeous. It is loaded with ABs, and if you are not familiar with that, that is Aurora Borealis, and it just brings out more of a shimmer. And I am so excited to get started on this one. I love mermaids, and so when this one was sent to me for a sneak peek, I immediately started working on it. And I will put the information on that sneak peek if you are curious underneath the eye as well as under the description. I am going to be using in my multi-placer Randa's Crafty Corner Vanilla Shortbread, and it smells amazing. It smells like you are baking cookies. I'm also using my Bella Art Day Nicole tray, which matches my canvas. And Bella Art Day Nicole is the owner of Bella Art Diamonds. So if you would like to purchase some of the accessories, I'll put that below as well. I am also using a new pen that I showed in my small shop haul. Right now I'm trying to get the multi-placer, my putty and my multi-placer. I've used this multi-placer before on another pen. I just transferred it over to this one, and it is all over the bottom of the multi-placer. So I'm getting that cleaned up. The pen is from Enabler's Outpost. It is very sparkly. It is purple and green. I love it. So let's get started. If you're not familiar with what a WIP is, that is a work in progress. So I usually will talk for about 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on how long that I have things to say. So if you want to work on one of your WIPs, or if you want to treat this like a podcast, feel free to do that. I am just grabbing some drills. This tray is really larger than what I need for what I'm working on right now, because the section that I am in, it is rather confetti heavy, where I'm having to change colors a lot. But it is going to turn out really pretty, so I am not upset about that at all. And I'm doing this on an angle, so I hope that my drills are going to be okay. Let me know how you guys are doing. How have you been? What are you working on? How has your week been? I always like to ask that first because I don't want to forget. And I am really concerned about everybody. And I just want to make sure that everyone is okay and that you're having some time for yourself. It is very early in the morning, guys, and my dogs have already been outside. They got me up super early this morning, and they've already gone outside. They have done their business. They have run around, and now they are back in with me in my craft room, and they are snoring like crazy. So if you hear some weird noises, that is probably from my smallest dog. She snores louder than my large dog, which is really funny. And she is sound asleep, and I mean, she is really cutting it right now. So I hate to wake her up, so hopefully it will not bother anybody. I just tend to ignore, but once she gets to sleep really good, I mean, she is a snorer. And my collie, who is twice the size of my smallest one, when she snores, it just sounds so funny. Her snore is just very light, so you may hear her too. More than likely, you will hear Zoe if you hear anything. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully it doesn't bother anybody. I am loving these drills. I have completed a kit from Bella Art when they were Mary's Diamonds before they changed the name. And I do have a post review that is coming up. It will come up next week. And that one was squares, and I really enjoyed that one. But this one is something else. This one is square, and these drills fit perfectly. You don't have to fight the drills in. They snap right in. There's not any gapping. Even with having my light pad on, I do not see any gapping whatsoever. So I think it is just really cool how these are coming together. And I wasn't sure if I wanted a round or a square. Nicole always asks, what will you prefer? And I really wasn't, picky. I really didn't care. And so I told her it didn't matter. And so on this one, she did send me a square. And I'm glad that she did, because it has been so much fun so far. And I really have not gotten very far with it. Just putting just a few drills down just because I wanted to see what her squares were like. And now it's like I am obsessed. And these are resin drills, which makes it even nicer. This week has been kind of a weird week, just strange things. And I always attribute the strange things around this time of year because, of October and spooky season. And I think people just go crazy sometimes, and they use October as an excuse to do things that they may not do any other time in the year, or maybe they do and we just hadn't noticed it. But this past week, my husband and I were driving to just pick up a sandwich. Paige didn't want to go, so I am glad for that, because she would have been really scared. But first of all, I do not like masks. I do not like when someone wears, a mask to be funny. I didn't even like during COVID, where if you went out somewhere, you were required to wear a mask, and just, your part of your face was covered. You still could see the person's eyes, but it just bothered me. So I didn't go out that much because of that. And I don't know. I've always been that way ever since I was little. I want to see somebody's face. It just really bothers me when I can't. So we were driving, or Dave was driving, my husband, and I was just, sitting there, just kind of doing, just, looking around, not really paying attention to anything. And so we came up to this car, and Dave said, what is on his head? And he couldn't really tell because we hadn't gotten up to the car yet. So we got up to the car, and then they started driving right alongside us. And I thought, okay, this is weird. And so I looked over there, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy has a mask on. And it's one of those really thick rubber masks. And it was really, scary looking. It went all the way down to his neck, past his neck. And this was the driver. So Dave couldn't get a really good look because, he was driving. And he glanced over, and so the passenger looked at him, and I couldn't see the passenger when we'd gotten up to them. And so I asked Dave, I said, is the passenger wearing a mask too? And he said, no, just the driver. And so they kept staying right with us, neck and neck. Dave would try to go a little bit faster to just get away from them, and they would pull up next to us. So that made me really nervous. So I was glad that Paige wasn't in the car, because she probably would have screamed or done something that would have alerted, them even more, because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to get some kind of a rouse, out of us. And they had this loud music on, have no idea what the music was. we could, hear it, we could feel it from our car, the vibration, and we had our windows rolled up. So I guess we ignored them. I went ahead, and Dave has a camera in his car because some of the time he has to drive in kind of places that, are not that great, and where they've had, issues before. He's had to go downtown. There's been some issues, downtown, and he has this camera in his car. So that way, if anything happens, he's able to quickly record. So he pushed the button, started recording it just in case there was something going on. And then finally, I guess that they got bored with us because we were ignoring them. And so they just sped up. And so when they sped up, I took a picture of their car, of the back of the car with their license plate. And Dave said, well, what did you do that for? He said, there's no point. You can't turn it in. Nothing's happened. And I said, no, nothing has happened to us. But if we hear something, on the news or whatever, and they ask if anyone has any information on this car, and it sounds like the same car as this one, and that the fact that the driver had a mask, then we've got information for them. And so Dave said, yeah, that's a really good idea. I didn't even think about that. But that was just, to me, very, very weird. And that's one reason why I don't like the spooky season, October, because people tend to do things like this. And they have just been, for fun, but I don't like it. It just honestly bothers me. And that got us going down the rabbit hole on different things of what we didn't like. And then one thing that came up very quickly after this was that Dave said, well, you don't like clowns. And I said, yes, you're correct. I do not like clowns. It's not that I don't like clowns. I absolutely hate clowns. I don't like going to the circus because I don't like clowns. As long as they're far away from me, I'm okay. But if a clown gets close to me, I just get really nervous. My anxiety just hits the roof, and I just become extremely uncomfortable. And I was that way when I was younger. We used to go to the circus a lot. And I think mainly because we lived in a really small town, and there was this traveling circus, which was even, back in the day, that was even unusual to have a traveling circus then. And they would even have, like, when the circus came to town, years and years and years ago, they would actually, when Barnum and Bailey would come through town, way before I was born, like in my grandparents' day even, they, brought a tent. They had all the animals march through the town, and then they would stop at the big top. So we had a traveling circus that would come to Arkansas, and they did the same thing. They went down our main street. It was a very small rural town. We only had like a few streets. They would come down the main street, and they had, their elephants walking and different things. They were trying to emulate what, Barnum and Bailey did. And that was, their claim to fame. So we would always go and watch the parade. They even let schools out for that day, and everything was good until the clowns came out. Then they would go and kind of interact with the crowd, and I would get as far away from the clowns as I possibly could. I didn't want to be in the front where I could see, because I wanted to be able to hightail it out of there if I saw a clown coming towards me. And never did really think about why I didn't like clowns. And my parents never thought about it either. They just knew that I didn't like clowns, and they thought I was silly because I didn't like clowns. Well, Dave comes to this conclusion: you don't like clowns because you can't see their true face. So, I started thinking about it, and I thought that makes perfect sense. Never had really thought about why I didn't like clowns. I just knew that I didn't. And it was really sad because when I was younger, when I was born with a birth defect. And when I was 10, I had to have major surgery. And now the surgery is something that is normal. It's not even as bad to go through what I had to go through. But it was a surgery that was not performed very often. There were only a handful of doctors in the US that was performing the surgery at the time. And we had to have the doctor, come in. He had to get authorization from the state that he would be able to perform surgery there, because he was not from the state that I had the surgery in. And he had to have so many people that he needed. He brought his own people down, and he also used some at the hospital. So the Shriners were really big in my small town, and also in the city, in the state. It was a different state that I had my surgery in, and they were very prominent there. And we did not have a children's hospital. They didn't have children's hospitals, so I had to go to just a regular hospital and have the surgery. Well, they wanted to do something for me, thought it would be fun, and they also did a lot for my parents. They had fundraiser because this surgery was very expensive, and my parents, could not afford it. And they said they would do whatever they needed to pay for it. So we had a fundraiser. The Shriners came, and the thing that my mother told them that I was really surprised, because she usually would just do whatever people wanted, and she wouldn't say, well, you can't do this, or she just didn't want to cause any problems. She wanted everything to be fine all the time, not just with the surgery, but with anything. So when the Shriners were going to have a surgery, they ended up having a small parade in my town for me. My mom told them that I was terrified of clowns. And if you are familiar with the Shriners, you would know that the Shriners dress up as clowns. They have the little clown cars. They do like all the little clown performances. They have the car where everyone gets in it. They all pile in. Then you have so many that piles out of this small car. And so my mom said, just wanted to let you know, I don't know how she's going to interact with you, because she just is terrified of clowns. So they were so sweet that instead of them dressing up in their full costumes, they had the funny clown shoes on, and they had the clown clothes on, but instead of putting all that white makeup on, they just put some sequins on their faces, and then they did put the white makeup or shoe polish or whatever they use on around their eyes, and then they just had a button nose. And I was fine with that. I remember that. I will never forget when Mom said, well, the clowns will be coming in, and you need to have respect for them, because they're just people, and they're just trying to make everybody happy. And so I was so nervous. I was so scared, because when she said, the clowns are going to be there, that really upset me. I didn't even want to go to my own party. Not really a party, but the parade. And then whenever I had surgery, they were going to come in a few days later, and they brought me some toys and different things that I could do, because I was bedridden for 4 months. And when they came and they didn't have their clown costumes on, then I was happy. Everything was good. People were looking at them kind of strange, because they didn't look like clowns, and they were used to that. And nothing was said why they did not wear their clown makeup. So I will never forget how nice and generous that they were. So every time that I see a Shriner that is trying to raise money, I do give a small donation. I do mail in my donation, And as long as they're not dressed as clowns, I will go over and talk to them. But it was just really weird how the clown conversation came up. And so that just kind of made me think. And I try not to be that way, around my kids. I don't want them to be scared because I am. And so as an adult, I'm not terrified of clowns anymore, but I still don't like them. They just make me nervous because I think Dave has hit it correctly, is because I cannot see their full face. Even though they have makeup on, you don't know what they look like underneath the makeup. And I think subconsciously, that is just me not knowing what they look like. They could be anybody. And people could dress up. And I don't know, I've always been to where I've been kind of anxious, kind of a nervous kid. And back when I was younger, they didn't call it, that you have anxiety or anything like that. It was just, oh, well, you're a nervous kid, which I think that sounded really bad. And that's not the case at all. But one year, it was the last year that I took Paige trick-or-treating. After that, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this ever again. And Paige didn't want to go either because I think it kind of traumatized her. But we had only been in the city where we are now for, I guess that was going on our second year. And Paige really enjoyed trick-or-treating, which I was really surprised because she was kind of a scaredy cat of a kid. She didn't like a lot of loud noises. And that year, Madison wanted to go trick-or-treating with her friends, and their parents were going to be there. And so she wasn't with us. So it was just Paige and I. And I said, yeah, I'll take you, and we'll just go, around our block. And she didn't even like candy. She just liked going and ringing the doorbell and seeing what they were going to give her. She liked dressing up. So we went to we were almost done. We'd gone around the block. We went to our next door neighbor's house, and they were home. I don't know why they didn't answer their door, but they didn't answer the door. They must have been downstairs in their basement. They had their light on, and we went up, and then all of a sudden, this other person came up, and it was an adult and a child. And the adult was dressed up as the Scream or Screamer. I don't know which one that the name really is, because I don't get into that kind of stuff, so I don't know. But the costume was very creepy. All you could see from head to toe on this person was black. You could not see a head. It looked like this person was headless. It got so close to me, I was able to look down at the costume, and it looked like it was just a black abyss. So that freaked me out, but I had to be careful because Paige was with me. And I thought, okay, this person is just wearing this costume. Let's just get her candy. We are next door. Then we can go home and we're going to be done. Well, it didn't work out that way because this person thought they would be cute. And they had a little kid with them, and the kid was dressed from head to toe in this zippered costume that was a gingerbread. I don't know how in the world the kid did not burn up or die in that costume, because it was this heavy head and the costume was just really heavy. You could tell that it was heavy, but it was just zipped in the back. There's no way that kid could have gotten out of that costume if it had to by itself. So found that to be a little freaky. And then they started chasing us. They started walking fast, getting close to Paige. And so I just said very nicely, please stay away from her. She doesn't like people to be close to her. She is special needs, and just please stop. And so when I said that, I guess they thought, well, they're going to be cute. They started doing it even more. So then I yelled at him and I said, I told you to stay away from her. Then they came up and he got right next to me. I shouldn't say he. It may have been, woman. I don't know. And so every time I would say something, they had this speaker on the side of their shoulder. And so they would say, something. I couldn't understand what they were saying. Then they would start laughing, and it was the screaming part. And so I'm like, okay, we have a issue here. And so then they did it one more time. And I said, look, I asked nicely, you need to just step away and stay away from us. And I said, and I mean now. I said, this is not funny anymore. I don't like it. You're making me nervous. Step back. And I said it loud to where I was basically screaming. So my husband at that time just happened to be giving out candy. And so he heard me. And he heard Paige yelling. And so he flew next door. By the time that he got over there, this person had already left. That is right on my washi. I'm not going to go that far out, but they had left. So I told my husband, I said, we are done. I am done. I am not doing this anymore. We are not going to we are not going to trick-or-treat anymore. I was just shaking, very nervous. And so I said, I will answer the door because, we still have some candy left. And he said, no, you're not going to answer the door. He said, we're going to stand outside. And it was only about 7:15. So it wasn't late. Most kids around there trick-or-treated until 8. So we were standing outside, and then we decided, no, we're done. We're just going to go turn our light off. This was just too much. And so we had some kids that came up screaming. They were running. And it was teenagers. It was boys and girls. And came up running and said that someone was chasing them. And they tried to grab one of them. And so I asked them, I said, did this person look like this? And they said, yes. So I immediately knew that was the same person. And so my husband went in, called the police. And he told the kids, he's like, if you want to use my phone, you can call your parents. Have them come and pick you up. He gave one of the kids our address, and he said, you should not be going out. Because then they said that he had something in his hand, and they didn't know what it was, that he was chasing them with it. And so they were all scared. So my husband called the police, and the police came out, never did find them. We kind of knew, we kind of guessed who it was. And there was this one person that was in the back of our neighborhood that we had seen that looked a little on the creepy side. And they did send a flyer out. We had a neighborhood watch, and they sent a flyer out and asked if this person had hurt anybody, if they knew who it was. And as far as I know, that never happened again. So how do you guys feel about masks? Does that bother you, or do you not care? Are you one of those that don't like clowns, or am I just by myself in that element? You would think I would grow out of that by now, but nope, never have. Still do not like clowns. And needless to say, we do not give out candy. After that year, I told my husband, I said, I have always loved giving out candy, but never, ever again. So I do buy candy. I just put it out on our driveway with a note saying, help yourself. And then if someone wants to take the whole bag, well, at least I did participate. And then the past 3 years, instead of doing that, we actually have what they call a trick or trunk at church. And they have it to where we bring candy for the kids, and they have the kids coming in. They have a party before Halloween, and then they get to go trick-or-treating to different rooms within the church. And then we give out candy. So we've done that before. And so that was fun. And they are very specific. Children can dress up, adults cannot. It cannot be anything scary. You know, it cannot be anything that's, you know, vulgar or whatever, because, you know, it's a church and it should be for small children. Small as in up to, I think that's up to like age 12 is where they do it. But that has just been my take on October. And the sad thing is, I absolutely love October. It is my favorite month. But, well, Christmas is my favorite, December, and then I love October because I like how the leaves are changing. Everything is starting to change. It's going to be a new season. I like the fact that we are starting, you know, to feel the crispness in the air, and I just really enjoy fall. But I just don't like the fact that it's also spooky season. I'm still not used to where all of my drills are. I still have some bounce sheets in here. I am not used to where all my drills are, and so I'm having to kind of hunt around a little bit because I've only done this one small square. Once I get used to where all of my drills are, I won't have a problem. But I'm still kind of hunting and pecking for my symbols. There's a few symbols on this particular canvas that I am not familiar with. They're not difficult to see. They're just a little different, and that's kind of fun because it is something different. I thought about multi-placing, but I am really enjoying single placing these drills. I don't even have to do the checkerboard method because they are so straight. Part of the problem why I'm not multi-placing is I am always, whenever I do my WIP chats, it never fails that I'm at a section that I'm going to be at a weird angle for videoing. It never fails. And I'm at that same place today, you know, which is fine. Now my dogs are starting to wake up for the day. They are not morning dogs, so you're probably going to hear them playing now. I've stopped a couple of times because Molly started barking, and she's not barking for any reason. She just likes to bark, which we need to get her out of that. She is now 3. We need to start really reining in on her barking. My oldest, Maddie, called me on Saturday. Before she called me, I knew that something was up because she was going to get, she was going with a friend who was getting a tattoo. And the friend had already gone and had 3 other tattoos. So it wasn't that like it was new and she was scared, but she wanted several people there for support, which I thought was a little different, but all of her friends were really sweet. And so they went, and Madison said, I don't know if I really want to go and spend my Saturday watching her get a tattoo. And I said, you're not getting another one, are you? Because she has several. And she said, no, I'm not getting one. I only want to get one from Nick, who we use here. And I've gotten a tattoo from Nick, and he is good. She said, no, I'm not getting a tattoo, but she just wants people to go with her. That is not wanting to come off my pen. And so she went, and later in the day, she sent me a picture, and she was in, I don't know if it was, I think it was her car. I couldn't really tell by the picture, but she sent me a picture, and she was holding this cute white dog. And so I sent her a message back, and I said, that looks like a Bichon. I said, but it doesn't have the Bichon face completely. And she said, oh, it's part, this cute little girl is part Bichon, and she's part Schnauzer. And so I said, that's why I guess she looks a little bit bigger than the Bichon, and her face looks a little bit different, but she is white, snow white, just like Bichon's. And I said, she is just really, really cute. And so that's all she said. She didn't say anything else. And I said, whose dog is that? And I knew before I asked, but I wanted to see what she said. Crickets. Just crickets. She didn't respond. And so I thought, she got her another dog. So then she called me after she was on her way home, and she said, so you like the dog? And I said, yeah, I like the dog. I said, I bet you do too. And she said, well, I hope you like the dog because she is now your grand dog. And I knew it before she even told me. I could just tell. And I said, why did you get another animal? You already have 2 in an apartment, and you're not going to be staying at that apartment. And I don't think you can have 3 animals in the apartment. And she said, well, we were just going in and we were looking. We had some time to kill. And she said, I've always wanted to go into this place. And she said, I've always wanted to be Sean. And I saw this, and I saw her. She was with her little brother, and she's 4 months old. So I said, okay. And I said, Bichons, they're pretty expensive. I hope you didn't spend a lot of money that you don't have on this dog. And so she said, that's it. She said, I didn't. And she said, because it was not a full bred Bichon, she said they did not charge me except for basically a service fee, or like they do if you go to an adoption when they have it like at PetSmart or something like that, or if you go to a place that rescues animals, pet rescue. So what she told me, the amount wasn't bad, and I said, there's no way. And she's like, I'm telling you it is. And so she sent me a copy of her receipt, which I didn't expect that. But sometimes, kids can embellish. Kids, relatively speaking, because she's 25, but because I also help her, I still send her money and I help her with her school. It's like, I'm not going to help you if you're going to keep buying things that you really do not need to be spending your money on. So she sent me the invoice, and then she sent me all the information on the dog, and she is a really cute dog. But I told her, I said, since she's just a puppy, I'm assuming she's not housebroken, and you don't like to housebreak them. So you're going to have to watch her, because the apartment that she's in is new. I don't know why I'm having problems on this one section. Doesn't want to stick here. It's a little sticky. May have to leave this little section open because I don't know if the glue curated enough before this cover went on, and that's fine. It could be my glue dot. But she called her fiance and told him, and he said, well, I really didn't want a mixed. I wanted a purebred Bichon, or I want a purebred dog. And Madison said, I know, but I always wanted a Bichon. And so he said he didn't know that she always wanted a Bichon, and she'd been telling him that, so I guess he wasn't paying attention. But when she was little, we got our first family dog, and it was a Bichon. And Madison was 18 months when we got this dog. And they became just quick and fast buddies, inseparable buddies. And Belle was around until Madison was in the 7th grade. And then she became really ill, and we had to, unfortunately, I had to make the tough decision. And that was not fun at all. It was absolutely horrible. But this dog, when Madison was 18 months, would jump into Madison's stroller, I would take Madison every day walking around in the neighborhood. So Belle would be part of our little walk, and Madison just loved and adored Belle. So she has named her little dog. She said, I couldn't name her Belle because that would be a little strange. But she said, I named her Bella. So she has another dog. So now she has a half Bichon, and she has a pug, and she has a cat. Well, the cat has been around animals for so much of her life that she didn't even flinch when a new animal came in, which was good. She kind of ignores her. But Bella has taken up with the pug, whose name is Hattie. And I guess she thinks that Hattie is her mother. And Hattie has had several babies. And so Hattie is just taking up with Bella as if she is her mother. And so it's working out so far very well. Bella has not had an accident in the apartment yet, or so Madison says. And she thinks a big part of that is because of Hattie. She sees that Hattie is going outside and Hattie doesn't go in the house. And so she's doing the same thing. I'm having an issue with this glue dot and the ABs. This section is going very slow because of the ABs, which I love ABs, and I always single place my ABs. And sometimes I will use, well, most of the time I use my multi-placer instead of the single. And I typically will use wax on my ABs instead of putty or a glue dot, which is what I have in my single placer right now. And I have my wax just in case. Sometimes it tends to take the shine off, I think, the shimmer. But this so far has been okay. If I see that it does that to one, then I will go ahead and change it out. But right now, it's all good. So now we have a new dog in our family, and I wish she would have waited because they're coming for Christmas. They're coming home for Christmas. They're driving. She's bringing the animals, and they're going to stay here. Now, her animals are really good with mine. They get along very well, but I don't know how the puppy's going to be. And I don't think it's going to be a problem, but she is not going to have the puppy upstairs. I already told her, when you bring the puppy, she's going to have to stay downstairs where the dog's room is. The dogs like to be down there, and that way I don't have them upstairs. Our dogs can go upstairs. They just don't like to. They will, but when they're ready for bed, they're ready to go back to their room. So I told Madison, I said, I hope you don't have a problem with the puppy, because if you do, then you're going to have to take the puppy over to your dad's. And I don't know how he's going to like that, but he's going to have to understand that if the puppy doesn't work out here, then he's going to have to take care of your puppy. So she agreed to that. And I think that her dog will be okay because she'll still be with Hattie, her pug. And Hattie absolutely loves our dog, especially Molly, the collie. But to think of having to bring a puppy, and the puppy's probably going to be scared, not knowing where she is. So I hope she doesn't howl all night. But I don't want her upstairs in her spare bedroom, just in case that she's not housebroken. I don't know if Madison's going to bring her crate. I don't know if they'll have room for it. So we will see, but she is really, really cute, I have to say. And I thought it was really sweet that she named her Bella. So I told Paige, I showed Paige the picture, and she said, before I even said anything, she said, that looks just like Bill. I said, yeah, it kind of does. And Paige was little when, I mean, we still had Bill, but Bill was Madison's dog. She slept with Madison every night. Madison just about couldn't sleep if Bill wasn't in there with her. So it made it kind of difficult when we went out of town and we had the dogs staying in a kennel. Madison had a hard time because she didn't have Bill to sleep with. But it's going to be a change for her to have a puppy, because when she had gotten her dog, Hattie, she is 6, I believe. Or she's 7 now. She got her when Hattie was 6. So she was already housebroken. And now she's going to have to housebreak this dog. So I told her the best way to do it, but we'll see if she does. Maybe her dog is already housebroken, but I seriously doubt it. And Madison wanted to get the little male, her brother. She couldn't get 2 dogs, but a friend of hers was going to get the male, and then they would be able to, bring the dogs together, and so they weren't going to be apart. Well, someone had just purchased the male and did not purchase the little female dog, and so Madison felt even worse. She's like, I just can't just leave her here. And I said, yeah, you can. You shouldn't have gone in there, because when you go into places like that, the little dogs and cats just pull at your heartstrings, and then you really want one. And that's why I don't go in places like that. So if you have any good tips on training a puppy, because it's been a long time. When we had gotten Molly, she was 4 months, but Molly didn't have to be trained. And she loved it outside. She was not used to being inside. And she was already pretty much housebroke herself. And another thing is that Bella is teething, so she is trying to chew on cords, and she is chewing on their leashes. They're small leashes that she uses to walk them. So any ideas, let me know so I can pass them on to Maddie. But otherwise, Madison is doing very well. And Paige, I've always worried, what's going to happen to Paige after she finishes school. She's going to be bored, and she has a job offer. I don't know if we're going to accept the job offer. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen this week after she has her evaluation for the VOTEC that is for special needs. I'm going to wait and see how that goes, and she can set her own hours. It's a small, it's like a deli, but it's they specialize in chicken. And her prior teacher, that was her transition teacher, contacted me on Saturday and asked me if we were still looking. Paige wanted a job, and that he has found something, and he has spoken very highly of Paige. The owner was very excited when he was talking about her, and said, have her fill out an application, and then have her let you know, and you can contact me. And so that way I will be looking for it. So that was on Saturday, and I told Paige, and she said, I don't know if I really want to work there. That's not what I want to do. And I said, you know, I understand that's not exactly what you want to do, but it may be something in the meantime until you find what's going to happen with the Votech. I'm trying to find this symbol. This one's a little different. What's going to happen with the Votech? And so she kind of agreed with me on that. So I really don't know what we're going to do about it, but I was really excited that she has a job offer. I don't know what she would be able to do there, but for someone to be that excited and offer a job and she hasn't even met her, and it's all because of her teacher. And she does have one of her former classmates that works there. So at least that is a backup option. And I did tell them, you know, we appreciate it and that Paige wants to wait and find out what's going to be said after her evaluation on Thursday. And so we do have a backup in case the Votech doesn't work out, just until, you know, we find and do something else. So it wouldn't be, I don't think, a permanent thing, but it'd give her a little bit of extra money. It'd give her some freedom in getting her out of the house. It would also help her to work somewhere. She'd have a little bit of spending money. And that makes me happy because she can use her money and not mine. And speaking of money, I know we're getting close to the hour mark. I don't want to go over, but speaking of money, did anyone fall into the Diamond Art Club huge selections on Saturday for the Halloween and fall? I don't even know how many that they dropped, but I saw a couple that I really liked, and I thought, you know, I could get these. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know, you've already got several WIPs going, and you're not going to start on anything else that is fall, except for what you've already planned. So this would be just bought and put up for next year. And so I decided not to buy anything. I was actually proud of myself because I kept looking, and I thought I could really go for the haunted house or for the Spangler. And Spangler was really large, but I really don't want to do a really large Halloween or, you know, fall canvas. And so I didn't buy anything. And so far, I have not had any FOMO. So don't think I've missed out on anything. And then on the same Saturday, Dreamer Designs dropped some Christmas canvases. So I thought that was really interesting that one has Halloween, the other one is already having Christmas. And I saw one of Dreamer Designs I really liked. I'd like another Christmas one, but I am holding out with anticipation and hope that White Christmas is going to come back in stock. I reached out to Dreamer Designs and asked them a couple weeks ago, and they said that they were working on it. They were trying to see if it could be done, if they could order some more. And so if they do, I don't even care if it doesn't come out until after Christmas. I'm going to get that one. It just looks so pretty. And when I first saw it, I thought, no, I don't know. That's a lot of whites and grays. Don't know if I'm really interested in that. And then I have seen one completed or partially completed. And now it's like, oh, now I've got to have that one. So I really do want White Christmas. But I did fall into the trap of getting the mystery kit and Christmas from Diamond Painting UK. I have purchased from them before, and their canvases are really good quality. And on that one, I kept going back and forth. Should I get that one? Because it's basically, or it is, a converted cross stitch. But it's a mystery, and it's for Advent. So I love my counted cross stitch, and then I thought, if I have to just sit there and use a pattern, I don't know if I'm going to like that. But on one of the sneak peeks, someone said that you can use Pattern Keeper. So when I heard that, I was all in. So if you can't use Pattern Keeper, I will just use the pattern that they give for every day. And I'll just have to get a Sharpie and mark all, not a Sharpie, but a highlighter, and mark off which ones I've done and do it that way. But I'm really excited about that. It may not come in until December. They're hoping by the 1st of December. So I may be a little behind on it from the start, and that's okay. I was hoping I could add that to my Advent that I'm going to be doing for my channel. I did one every day last year. I thought, well, I can do that. I can add that. I'll have 2 canvases, but I don't know if it's going to be in time for me to do that, because I am going to start a little bit early on that to get a jump start. So if it's not on my channel, I will just do a few days and do that, or I may even do a WIP Chat. But I'm really excited to get that. So if you got any from Dreamer Designs or from Diamond Art Club, let me know. I'm really curious to see. And if you had gotten this converted cross stitch, I'm really excited to get that. So let me know about that as well. The shipping, I won't lie, and I saw the shipping and I had bought from them before, so I knew what the shipping was going to be like. And I kept debating, do I really want to pay this much for shipping? But this is a special one, so to kind of reduce the fact of how much shipping was, so in my mind, I thought if I get 2, shipping is going to be the same, and it actually was a little bit less. So I was able to use the discount from a sneak peek, from Add More Zest sneak peek. I was able to use a discount. I was able to use a discount for both of them. And I went ahead and got it. I just kind of ignored when I saw how much the shipping was. I thought, nope, I'm going to do this. But if you are new to Diamond Art Club, or new to diamond painting, Black Friday is big. It is really big. It was huge last year, and it was for all of the companies, really. They all had big discounts. They all had releases. I think Diamond Art Club had around 100. I mean, it was crazy. And Dreamer Designs had several. So I'm holding out for, or trying my best to hold out for, Black Friday. I'm saving up some money for that. I'm not going to go crazy. Some are limited and you don't know if they're going to come back because Diamond Art Club doesn't tell you. And if Dreamer Design sells out, sometimes they will go ahead and they will add more at a later date, and sometimes they don't. So you just don't know. But I kind of know what I'm working on next year, for the start of next year anyway. And I don't really need anything else. I love ABs. I love to have them in my canvases. They are gorgeous. It is going to make this mermaid tail absolutely stunning. But I'll tell you, putting these down is not easy. I also will use Pretty Placers, a little crayon wax. But I tried it on this one yesterday and it just did not want to pick up. And the glue dot is doing better than the Pretty Placer, but my glue dot keeps popping out of my pen. So I kind of need some advice on that. What do you guys do for your ABs? And these are so shiny. I think that's why I'm having a problem. Is I'm worried that the top part of these, it's going to just be dull. It's going to lose its shine, and that doesn't look right because I've had one to do that. And these are so pretty. So I'm trying to just place very gently and see that's working out better. Just place very gently. I am very heavy-handed when it comes to diamond painting. I do not have a light hand at all. But look how pretty. I mean, and the other side looks like a little, it looks almost like a fish. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. So you can see that. I am going to call it good for today. I have been blabbing on about so many crazy things. I mean, it's just been a crazy week. But I hope that if you wanted to get anything done, you were able to accomplish that. Hope you enjoyed this WIP Chat. If you would please click on the like button. If you have not subscribed, you might want to consider doing so. I think that you would like it here. And I do have content that I do work very hard on. So I hope that you see something that you do like. If you would like to sign up for my birthday club where I do send out birthday cards, go ahead and fill out that form. You do not have to put the date, the year that you were born, and you can put 00 or you can put this year. It doesn't matter. I don't need to know how old that you are. I also have a membership now on my channel. That membership is different from subscribing. Subscribing is totally free. Membership is a very small nominal amount where you can have some behind the scenes information. And I'm also going to set up a Zoom monthly call for the highest tier. And if you would like to join that, it is very easy. You can click on the membership button. It is not required, of course. It is appreciated. It's going to be fun, but it is not something that I'm expecting everyone to do. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And until next time, happy diamond painting. Bye.